My name's Ian.
My name's Ollie.
And we are the writers of FM.
And this is our little behind-the-scenes feature about the show. We're going to take you around set, we're going to give you a few interviews with some of the bands and some of the cast, and we're going to give you a little insight into how this TV show gets made.
Very good.
Yeah, thanks.
Well done.
Okay, shall we?
Yeah, great.
Brilliant.
This is Chris O'Dowd. Ian Bishop.
I'm on the talent.
Daniel.
Hello. And we're here with the Wombats.
For me, anyway, I've been really aware of the last kind of 10 years of popular radio being very much about personalities and but more about, you know, comedic people who are very good at banter, and it becoming more about that. And being the sort of thing that you would go to a comedy club and see, people that are just very, very quick.
Look, she was a lovely woman, her sausages are great, but I'm just saying, I don't think she was a force for good in McCartney's music.
Kind of, when we thought of the idea, it just seemed like the perfect thing, because basically their jobs, you know, it's about people whose job is to sit and talk and have banter and have chat with each other.
Artistic differences.
Such as?
But I thought it was a good idea for me to fuck his mother. He disagreed.
Never written a series before. We had I guess when we had written things before, we just kind of sat down and wrote, didn't we? And then we sort of pieced it together and when we felt our way through it. But this was the first time where, you know, no commissioner's going to trust you to go off for 2 months and just come back with stuff. So we did
a lot of storylining work before we started writing, actually, didn't we?
Yeah, it was. We had to go away and structure it, which was a new thing for us, wasn't it? But very, very helpful. It was about 2 months that we had from storylines to 5 first draft scripts.
Yeah.
But I think also that's because we literally hadn't seen each other. We hadn't worked together for about a year. By having that break, everything was really fresh, and we'd had lots of ideas ourselves, and so we kind of came up with the storylines, and then we rapidly became very tired of each other.
Please don't hurt me.
I guess production really started for us in a way where we felt we were moving into filming this series when we did the big read-through.
Please, just get me Lady Horsepower Kid.
If anyone finds out about this, we'll be fired.
Come on, Jane, one last job.
And that was really terrific to hear the actors, you know, saying the lines, for us to work out what works and what didn't work.
Did you know that, Tom? Yeah. You and your witty banter.
How have you found it, Ben?
I have
found the experience.
I have found it very fun.
Honestly?
Yeah.
Brilliant.
I haven't even come across a show like this before.
I liked all the location-y stuff.
Oh God, I love it. I actually love it. This is one of my favourite jobs I've ever done.
I like all the band stuff and all that kind of world of music.
And what I love about this job is that when you could just improvise.
You know, people are up for hearing ideas or trying stuff out.
And you don't get to do that with a lot of TV jobs.
And you're coming in with a new line. Almost every take you'd come in and she'd say some unexpected thing.
I wanted to be involved in it because I like, firstly, the idea, and secondly, the script.
It's a barrel of laughs every day.
Wonderful.
The truth is, the brilliant thing about Kev is that he's great at doing that. He's great at driving stuff and, you know, and it's good to have that energy behind the show.
And how have you found working with Mr. Chris O'Dowd?
He's very, very funny, silly man. I mean, the real Chris is not as... He's much cooler than Lindsay, isn't he?
Yeah.
And,
Those are kind of my favourite scenes, actually. The ones with OT and Ophelia, because I think that's where the character is strongest.
Yeah.
AIDS.
Why AIDS?
Because he's so funny.
What Chris does, a scripted line, when it comes out his mouth, it sounds improvised.
70% saying yes.
And I find that amazing.
When you've got actors like Chris and Kev and Nina and Daniel and Ophelia and Oti and everyone like that, they bring so much to the role and to the script that you just have to see what they're giving you and let that kind of become its own thing.
I mean, to an extent, I would be more of a straight man in a way, or it's a role that I would feel slightly more comfortable in. It's great to have Nina there as well, because she is both straight and, you know, a man. And I mean, as you've probably noticed, the way that we get on off camera is very similar, and has been growing more and more similar as time goes on, where now I just make jokes about her age all of the time.
There is an element, I think, with a lot of cast members starting to turn into their characters a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, there is elements of Dom in myself, I must admit.
Really?
Yeah, little bits, not a lot.
It's really fun as well having the kind of the bands, because what we didn't want to do in this, because obviously we've got a lot of cameos and a lot of bands, but it was always very much our intention to make it real world. It was never getting people in and so they can do a turn and then, you know, they come in, they do their little turn and then we go off. I think we're trying to, you know, integrate them in the plot as much as possible, so we're treating them like actors.
They've all been really cool, really calm, and actually very natural.
I think we found it very difficult to actually stick to the script.
FM, we're midway through your shooting day. How are you finding it? How are you finding the experience?
Good fun, yeah. Are you going to take it up professionally now, do you think, after this?
Charlatans movie, maybe?
I said I wouldn't do any more acting after after I was in the Nick Moran film last year, because I was rubbish.
It's the first time we've ever been written into a script, anyway.
We didn't really know what to expect.
Maybe you could die being shot out of the camera.
Play myself being dying, and then
and then we resurrect you at the end.
Perfect.
I'm quite a big fan of Sway.
Yeah?
Yeah, I'm a big Sway supporter.
It's just totally different from the world I'm used to. The amount of people around, and you have this guy who tells this guy what to do. You've got a director that directs the directors, and there's lots of people in between doing little things, just paying a lot of attention to details.
Yeah, there's not a massive divide, I don't think, between sort of, you know, especially comedy actors and sort of band people in bands. That performance thing is there amongst them all, you know, and I think if you asked most actors would they like to have a go in a band, they'd probably say yeah, but I know I would.
Actually, I was the Scarecrow in The Wizard of Oz when I was about 17, 18.
I did theatre studies for A-level, so I hope...
what roles did you
I
have?
hope Miss Gowdy's not to be appalled by my acting skills.
I want to do more acting, man. I know a lot of the real actors. I know they hate it when artists try and get into the acting world, but you know.
How was Justin Hawkins?
He was fucking lovely.
Yeah?
Yeah, he was lovely. Do you know what? To be honest, everybody that we've had in has been really cool.
We've just done the episode with Lady Hawk, with the lovely Pip, and she's never acted before in her life, and she's got quite a lot. She's had 3 days, and that whole story revolves around her, but she was great, wasn't she?
I like Lady Hawk a lot. Yeah. She was really sweet. Pip.
Been your first acting experience?
Yes.
Apart from the School Nativity?
Yeah.
Who did you play in the School Nativity?
I was actually an angel or something really boring off to the side.
Angels aren't boring.
Yeah, but they just stand off to the side. Just kind of...
Well, I would say probably today is a good day. You know, the Charlatans in. They're absolute sort of rock legends, and they're sort of grown up. They're definitely part of the soundtrack to my life.
Are you guys big comedy fans?
Yeah, can't you tell?
I love Scrubs.
John with the Crankies.
Crankies. Oh, you can see it in the script.
Chris and Kev, there's a lot of Crankies elements between the two of them.
Yeah, well, the size difference is one thing anyway.
I mean, I haven't really been into anything since The Office, really, because we've been away so much.
One last thing, if you guys could be in any other band, what band would you want to be in?
Slipknot.
Like, I'm one of the biggest Madness fans ever.
I'd like to go back and actually just be Elvis.
When I was learning guitar and I was starting to get good at soloing, I was like, I'm getting so good, I must be Jimi Hendrix. I reincarnated.
Creme brulee.
Creme brulee. What's it actually like, you know, to be in a band and go into a radio show, whatever it is? It did feel that's what it's like. But in terms of the music
Tables
scene
aren't
at that
that
minute,
messy, and the presenters aren't as charming.
Yeah.
What would you regard as the highlight of the shoot for you?
Westwood!
Was he what you expected?
Yeah, but more.
When he first spoke, I thought it was a joke.
Wow!
Wow. That was a magic day, wasn't it?
It was just like, I expected him to be like, you know, in your face and but it was just so amazing.
I thought he was going to kill a man.
The heart of the idea was kind of Lindsay, and Lindsay being this character of, you know, it's a very, very cool world, but cool people aren't very funny and aren't very interesting, and kind of the idea was always with Lindsay is that he's kind of in this cool world, but he's sort of very neurotic and very kind of awkward, and he's one of those things that, you know, a lot of the stuff that he says or does off air is awkward and weird and strange, but when you put it on air, suddenly it becomes interesting and he becomes a great DJ.
Well, what I liked about it, particularly in the pilot and stuff, was that he was a loser, but not in a very traditional sitcom-y way. You know, he's not just a kind of, not just a fool, which is too easy and too familiar.
Dom Cox, clearly he hasn't got much responsibility, has he, at the radio station? He's a co-host, but he doesn't really do a lot of the legwork, does he? I mean, that's down to Jane, the producer, and he just seems to turn up and just mess about, really. But what he does have is a brilliant music knowledge, which I liked. I like that part of him, that he had that kind of almost slightly autistic sort of brilliant memory.
Is AIDS a good character to play for you?
Yeah, it is. It's fun. I mean, like, especially if you're a young black actor, you get a lot of stuff where I have a knife. What do? I have a gun. This is the end of the world. And he's just young and he's just out there and he says random, inappropriate things.
I have a love-hate relationship with Topher because, well, it seems that actually people, generally, when other people speak to me about Topher, it's like, oh, he's such a likable guy. I hate him. I think he's an asshole. but you know, I love playing him because of that. I find him really irritating. But it's the irritating part of him which I have fun playing.
It's my favourite thing is just the reaction to whenever Topher touches me. That's my favourite bit of acting.
It's almost like passively aggressive towards Lindsay. You know, it's so soft, but it's so antagonistic to him.
He's a high energy character. I mean, that's one thing about Dom, that he tends to kind of just burst into rooms, burst into scenes, and he's very high energy and to a point just refreshingly sort of honest.
It was like when I first read it, I was like, God Almighty, this is exactly the kind of arsehole I am. and to be honest, I was a bit embarrassed when, you know, I remember reading it through with a friend of mine, and I was like, this is going to be so embarrassing, because it's just like showing the worst part of yourself to like strangers.
He doesn't seem to get bothered much by you know, the social surroundings at Skin FM. He doesn't seem to get too flustered when there's a famous band in or a famous person in. He takes it all in his stride, whereas Lindsay tends to get a little bit worked up about the whole thing.
I've liked wearing skinny jeans.
We've all liked you wearing skinny jeans,
and really low-cut t-shirts.
Yeah, look at these.
And scarves.
Hey, that's a pretty hairy chest you got there.
You like that? You should see my back right there. That's called an alley-oop.
I love the story about him shagging his mate's mum, who he's in the boy band with. I think that's absolutely brilliant. And then and then making it up with the friend, and then his friend Tim's wife, then coming on to Dom, and because he doesn't want to shag Tim's wife, he shags his mum again. I think that's brilliant.
That's kind of classic Dom Cox logic, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, he just doesn't want to hurt his mate again. You know, I don't want to. I can't do this, but I need to shag something, so I'm going to shag his mum again. I've already done that once, so I can't. It's not as damaging the second time round, surely.
The Tash, you're going to go with Tash now that you've seen?
Tash looks good.
He's spotted.
I like
good
the Tash,
man.
I like the Tash. The beard was a bit much.
There is something nice about having a character and building a character over a period of time.
I think I'd like to see him take over the breakfast show. I think that would be a good episode.
Yeah.
If you look at the first series of Fools and Horses or the first series of Porridge, and by the time they get into their second series and their third series, they've really, really mastered that character by that point.
Yeah.
And it's something, you know, that I think does get better with age.
So we need some love interest for age.
It needs some love.
Yeah.
Needs some love.
I'd like to see him maybe try and start a band.
Nina and Ophelia. I'm not fussy.
I'd like to see Dom have that point where every young man's life, when they sort of realise that they can't just do what they've been doing, you know.
Forever, yeah.
I've had that moment recently, and you just get to that point where you just think, oh, I can't really. They suddenly become more responsible, or more aware of their mortality. And I'd like to see him do that, and there's glimpses of it in this series, but yeah, I'd like to see him to see the deeper side of him maybe.
If you weren't sat up in Elstree and Borehamwood in your massive Winnebago,
yes,
which set would you like to be on? Past films or future films or present films?
Sister Act 2. Sister Act 2. That would be my dream. That is the most amazing film ever. I'm sorry.
We're back on now, so see you soon.
I mean, I have them every day. Every morning I come in and I feel like that. Every morning I come in and I see people getting breakfast from the catering truck, and I see our actors and I see our kind of cast and our crew setting up and lighting it. And I walk into our studio that's been built. And every day I kind of go, this is amazing. This is amazing.
And action.